Quiet down, quiet in the back. It's time to tap into fantasy. Welcome to Tap Into Fantasy, the podcast with a professional fantasy mind and an amateur beer palate. I'm Lance Gandy. You can find me on X at LG_fantasy. Let's raise a glass, ladies and gentlemen. May the best drafts of your past be the worst of your future. Let's tap in. It's time for the opening draft where I'll open a beer I usually haven't tried and sip along throughout the episode. The first few episodes are beers I randomly saw at Specs the other day, but I want listeners to be able to suggest new beers that I pop open on future episodes. Look, I'm very proud of my amateur beer palate, but it's very amateur. I can barely tolerate most IPAs and sours, so maybe if some of my picks don't work out one week this season, you'll hear me gagging through one. I'd like to get some listener suggestions. I've already had a few, and I'm having them shipped here as we speak, so please write in about any beer you want to see or hear me review. You can email the show at tapintofantasy@gmail.com with the beer and an explanation of why this beer needs to be in my belly. The best explanations will be chosen, and I'll shout you out on the show. Then I'll rank each beer on the big beer board on the website. So, last episode, I tried a Weihenstephaner Corbinian. It's the second beer I've tried, and I ranked it second, right behind the 2024 Goose Island Bourbon County brand Stout. I gave it a poor score of Best Ball Draft Banger. It's perfect to sip slowly in a best ball draft, but if you down a few of those babies in your home league draft, you're going to lose to the guy that thinks kickers are drafted in the second round. Okay, I'll love you forever if you could friend me on Untapped. The name is Tap Into Fantasy if you want to be beer bros with me forever. Heart. I also want to remind you to make sure to subscribe to this podcast on whatever platform you're listening on. It helps the podcast tremendously, and I get more reasons to drink cool beers, yay, and talk to you pretty people. Okay, so this episode, I'll be opening a Trappistes Rochefort 10. I didn't know anything about this beer when I saw it at Specs. And I don't know if I just butchered that name to death. I probably did. I grabbed it because it looked fancy and was decently pricey. Apparently, it's a Belgian quadruple with a rating of 4.24 on Untapped. That's super high, just below the Goose Island Stout. Untapped bros are very stingy with their rankings. Like that one guy in your Dynasty League who's never traded because everyone on his team is apparently a god. So the Trappistes Brewery is in the Abbey of Notre Dame de Saint-Remy of Rochefort, a.k.a. fancy-ass monks brewing some bomb-ass beer in Belgium. So these monks are getting a little full of themselves because they call this beer the Merville, or the Wonder, and they say it's now the most popular and best-known beer around the world. Apparently, it's featured in the world's top 15 best beers. It says it is dark brown with a creamy beige head, best served around 55 degrees, releasing an explosion of intense, complex flavors on the palate, like coffee, chocolate, and spices. I'm just saying, these Padres better back up their shit, because that's a lot of hype. Okay, let's do one of my favorite segments and read some funny Untapped reviews. Pairs well with the thunder in the sky, and Fat Boy plays Kent in the background. Things could be worse. I don't know if he's trying to say this beer is good or ruin it for me. I want to say I found the band called Boy that was covering a song by Kent, and I think he was trying to ruin it for me. Okay, next review. Belgian-y nose, smooth Belgian-y taste. This guy Belgians. I wonder if it also looks Belgian-y and tastes Belgian-y. All right, Well, let's pour this thing and give it a swig. I have my Festival of Darkness chalice from Tupp's Brewery to pour this bad boy into. Let's get my trusty Asheville opener, which is over here. Let's see what these monks got going on. Right. I'm pouring it. It's a little lighter than I thought it'd be, but that is a lot of head. It looks to be pretty carbonated. I don't even think I can fit all of this in this glass. I don't like too much head when I take a sip. I don't know. I just feel like I can't get a good taste of what it's like. Let's wait for it a second. All right. Wow. That tastes like dark brown syrup. I don't even know what to think on that first sip. I'm gonna have to take another one. I mean, Belgian-y. Hit that right on the head. That was a good call. Like a touch of Belgian-y with some Belgian-y aftertaste. I mean, it's very good. I can definitely taste the chocolate. It's a little syrupy. It's really thick, but I mean, I think the friar's prayers were answered on that one. That's hella good. Like I would shave my head too if I could, you know, make a brew like this. All right. Well, let's go over a few things before all the fantasy talk. So please go check out the website at tapintofantasy.com. My best ball rankings are uploadable to Draft for best ball and all of that. They're specifically for Draft, so make sure to download it as a CSV file and you can upload it to DK to have my rankings as your default. I do that. And then I also have the ADP rankings on the side. That helps me. So I also have that on the site. I may have to update my ranking on Quinchon Judkins, although I was already low on him, but I updated it this past weekend, so it should be ready to roll. I have the PPR rankings on the site as well. They're downloadable, and those are updated. So yeah, go check those out. I want to let you know that this episode is powered by W Energy. Clean energy to keep your draft sharp, even with a hangover. Use promo code TAPINTOFANTASY for 10% off at checkout. Happy pours, happy scores, folks. Okay, so let's get into our main topic this episode. The running backs I like drafting in best ball. So you can find my rankings on the site, like I said, to see who I have ranked highly. But let's dig a little deeper. Maybe get into the weeds of a few specific players. So there's actually very little buzz about this guy so far, but I'm higher than consensus on Josh Jacobs. So he's currently running back 10 on DraftKings at pick 23. I have him as running back 8. I'd be thrilled to click on him in the mid-second. So Jacobs averaged under 9 points per game in the 2 games Jordan Love missed in 2024. And almost 16 with Love playing. Like that would have ranked running back 4 last year. But even including the ones where Love missed, he was running back 6 in points per game. Like this wasn't a fluke or anything. He had PFF's 4th best rushing grade last year. And I love looking at the VORP for every player. And I know it sounds super cringy, like just cringy amounts of nerd, but stay with me. It's value over replacement player. So basically, fantasy points compared to the points of a replacement player. Josh Jacobs was 6th, not in the running back rankings, but total rankings. He basically should have been a top 10 pick last year. Like, it's not hard to imagine him having an even better year in 2025 because the Packers now have a healthy Jordan Love, and they'll have a potential number 1 receiver now in Matthew Golden. So they'll probably be passing the ball more. But in 2024, they ranked 27th in passing or in offensive plays. Number 1, because they were so run heavy due to Malik Willis starting a few games and Jordan Love playing injured. And number 2, they were 3rd in the NFL in 3 and outs in 2024. So that changes. With a healthy Jordan Love and more plays means more points for little JJ, Josh Jacobs. All this to say, draft him. Like, he's such a safe play this year and is being drafted at his absolute floor. I know that was a lot of nerd. Let's take a breath. Let's take a sip of monk beer to ground ourselves. Yeah, it's pretty similar actually to the beer on last episode, the Corbinian, but it's a little more syrupy, feels heavier. It is like 11.3%. So this will knock on your ass. Okay. So more nerd here. So next is Alvin Kamara. This only goes for PPR, really. I would still rank him above where he is in half PPR. In standard, it's going to be tough for him to score a lot. Like, he could easily get dogged by Tyler Shuck, or however you say his weird name, and have 2 touchdowns on the year. But Shuck famously soils himself every single time a defender is within like 4 yards of him. So he also had a super nice 20% target share to running backs at Louisville last year. That could be even higher, having the best running back or the best receiving back in the NFL in Kamara. Do you know what Alvin averaged last year? He was at 19 points per game. That was fifth best among running backs. He's now going on DraftKings as RB16. Like, yes, this team will be bad, and it's tough to draft running backs on bad teams. They were also bad last year. He was RB5. Bad teams have to pass more than most because they're behind. They're trying to catch up. So Kamara could easily have over 100 targets this year. So get this. Since 2023, Alvin has a 20.3% target share. Christian McCaffrey is second in the NFL with 18.2%. Third is Brees Hall at 15.1%. Draft Kamara. Don't overthink it, stupid. I'm sorry, that was harsh. I love my drinking buddies. Cheers, guys. Okay, so besides sounding like a wealthy Englishman who was on the rowing team at Oxford, Kenneth Walker III is criminally underrated. He was tied for fourth in running back rushing grade on PFF with Josh Jacobs. He had 40% tackles avoided per carry last year. There was only one other player above 30%. And that's easily the highest in the NFL since 2020. So Walker has averaged 4.4 yards per rush on zone rushes in his career compared to 3.8 yards on non-zone rushes. That turns into 4.7 yards per rush on outside zone runs. New offensive coordinator Clint Kubiak's specialty. Kubiak also gave his running backs the most targets last year, and Kenny Boy had the fourth highest target share in the league. So up to this point, we've concluded that Walker should be among the top 8 running backs in points per game. And he's going as running back 18 on DraftKings. You ask, why the disparity, Lance? Look, he's got an injury history longer than a CVS receipt from your mom's self-care spree. It's not pretty, but this is best ball. Like, compare him to Christian McCaffrey, who's going at running back 4. McCaffrey is a significantly higher injury risk, and it's barely baked into his ADP, while Walker has a slightly lower ceiling, but is going as RB18. Everything's baked in with him. On DraftKings Injury Predictor, he's a medium risk of injury. The projected games missed, 1.9. I'm willing to take that risk in round 5 of best ball. Okay, so since you've been good boys and girls, I'm giving you one bonus running back to fade this year. James Cook. He pulled off a statistical magic trick last year that kind of had fantasy managers buzzing, but we have to bring this back down to reality. Cook dramatically outperformed his expected touchdown total, scoring 18 touchdowns, when advanced stats suggested he was more in the neighborhood of 11, or he should have been in that neighborhood. That's a massive overperformance. So that screams regression faster than a beer league softball player pulls his hamstring. His touchdown luck looks about as sustainable as my diet after Thanksgiving. And let's be real, before also. 40.6% of his fantasy production came from touchdowns. Like I said, that screams regression. He finished as running back 8 last year, but if we bring his touchdown rate down to a normalized 4.9%, still 7th in the NFL, he would have been running back 17. Also, his running back, or his backup, Ray Davis, is quietly pretty good. And James Cook had never had the goal line role before last year, and I really don't think they want to use him in that role as much as they did last year. That's why they drafted Ray Davis. Okay, so I hope you got something useful out of this best ball breakdown. This Trappist beer, it's a tough one. It's very, very close to last week's. I'm going to take one more sip, and then I'm going to make my conclusion. I think it's going above the Corbinian. I think it's going number 2. It's going right behind the Goose Island Stout on the big beer board. Okay, I think that's where it lands. But that is going to do it for this 3rd episode of Tap Into Fantasy. If you liked what you heard, make sure to like and subscribe. It helps the show find other degenerates like you. Hit me up on X at LG_fantasy. Thanks for tapping in. And until next time, happy pours, happy scores.